No, it's all good. We'll just go. All right. So I just did a whole intro and no one even noticed. But big thanks to Total Wealth Academy Studios. This is our podcasting studios. This show has nailed it. I'm your host, Curtis Warden. Been in the real estate industry since 2007. There it is. That's our logo. Nailed it. My company that I build houses with is called Urban Restoration. And I'm joined today by the fantastic Derreck Long.
How you doing, Curtis?
Good. The all-knowing of, I would say, tax avoidance strategies.
I'll take it. I love it.
Yeah?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
With Quest IRA or Quest Trust Co.
Quest Trust Company. Yep.
Yeah, but still, when it says Quest FBO for benefit of Quest. Does it say Quest Trust Co. now? Or does it say Quest IRA?
So it depends on who it is. Some people put Quest Trust Company. Some people put Quest Trust Co. It's the same thing.
Same thing.
Yep.
Okay. Well, so there's a lot going on in the universe today. You guys are opening about 250 accounts a month, you said.
Yeah, it's about right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Last month you did how many?
So last month we probably did 260 accounts in the month of April.
Yeah.
Right? And then that's usually, as a self-directed custodian, that's pretty common, right? To open and work with 200 to 300 brand new clients.
Right.
But as you know, last week was the tax deadline.
Right, for most of the United States.
Yeah, for most of the U.S. Obviously, we live here in Texas, so our deadline got extended to June. Mm-hmm. But for the rest of the U.S., the tax deadline was May 17th. So.
Yeah. Well, lucky us.
Yeah, right?
Lucky us. So what was it like over there during the tax deadline? What's everyone trying to do? Just get their last-minute filings in so they can write off as much of their self-employed benefit?
Absolutely. So usually what will happen is on the last 2 to 3 days of the tax deadline, companies like Quest, we get a ridiculous amount of calls because it's the last chance for people to put money in their account for the previous year. So hypothetically, right, Curtis, if you set up a traditional IRA on May 17th, you could have put in a $6,000 contribution and potentially taken a $6,000 tax deduction for 2020.
So I've got until June to do this.
That's correct. You do because you're in Texas.
2020.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. I've got a huge tax liability or tax offset coming my way.
Nice.
Well, I guess our core group holdings account, the one that I have with Ryan DeGeneiro.
Oh, I love Ryan. Man, he's a good guy too.
Isn't he good? Well, he's kind of like a little twin of yours. Y'all got the little scruff hair.
We're both skinny.
Both skinny.
Got the nose.
got the Polish noses working. Y'all are all knowing about everything, avoiding taxes. I'm going to have Ryan on. Ryan's getting ready to close like a $2 million deal with it's like the largest deal he'll have ever done. He's going to talk about how he switched and transitioned out. You've seen some of the stuff Ryan's doing.
Absolutely. I've seen him and a guy named Chris Atkins. Both of them have worked very closely together.
Well, you know Chris very well because that's B's husband.
Yeah, B's my boss.
Yeah, so it's a very incestuous relationship, the Houston real estate market. So were you at the last at Stampede Houston?
No,
you didn't come.
I missed it. Yeah.
Well, did y'all send representation?
We did.
I didn't see a Quest Trust Co. representative or a table. I didn't see a table there. But it's okay because I'm in the upper atmosphere. I'm in the stratosphere of it's like they were used to. I was up on the stage doing the podcast. Now they're like, yeah, guess what? You got to go all the way up there. It's like they put me in timeout. And so then people walk up the stairs. They meander up the stairs. I can see them as they're coming up as I'm doing the podcast. But it's kind of cool because it overlooks. It's kind of a bird's eye view. It looks down, or the podcast is looking down at all the people that are in. So I like it. Stampede was great. It seats about 2,000 people very comfortably.
Yeah. It's what I like is if you are out here in Texas right now, you've noticed that we're getting back to in-person things. We're getting ready to network. We can talk to each other again.
Yeah, but we've been doing that for a while.
Oh, yeah, but I'm saying I think it's full board now.
No, it's full bore.
literally the other day, I walked into the grocery store. I didn't even realize it. I had my mask like on my wrist, and and no one said anything. I didn't even think about it, and I was like, "Oops, oh well."
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's nice to feel that way again.
Let me tell you something very cool that happened recently that you were a part of. So my fiance was doing a IRA rollover, right?
Yep.
We were rolling over from TD Ameritrade
Yeah.
into Quest.
That's correct.
And she had sold some shares of some stock and then had the cash and then rolled that over. And I learned some things that I've never known. Like, I didn't know that you couldn't move cash from an IRA directly over to another fiduciary. It has to go in a vehicle and then it gets sold and put into a check and sent to Quest.
That's correct.
I did not know that. That took a couple of days to kind of figure that out because we were waiting on this fund to file. And, Kendra's going to come on with Chelsea because they are co-working the loan together. So it's going to be Chelsea and Kendra are going to come in and talk about. Chelsea is Brian's wife.
Yeah, I know Chelsea.
And, and she's
Brian Burr, if you guys don't know.
Yeah, Brian Burr. And so she's going to come on and talk about lending her first deal using Quest, what that was like. And you came in at the last minute because something that she didn't know that I think is standard for us and we just glaze over is that there's a cost to transact that money from going to you into your account and then going back out and funding a deal.
Absolutely there is.
Yeah.
So,
well, in that it should be expected because I don't build houses for free.
Yeah.
I don't build swimming pools for free. People expect me to, but I don't. But go ahead and explain the transaction process.
Sure. So when you set up an account, understand that your IRA becomes its own entity. Your IRA has its own name, its own address, its own signature, its own level of asset protection. You don't get to set up an LLC for free. So usually when you set up an IRA, there's going to be a fee no matter where you go, right, to set it up. Now, when you go to do the investment, right, the investment itself, understand that someone has to review all of the investment documents. They work with the title company, they work with the borrower, they work with the attorney.
And why is this important? What happens if those documents are wrong and I'm doing a deal with somebody who is like, what are the penalties that could happen?
So let's go ahead and just say, as an example, you were lending $100,000 and the documents didn't have the exact, and I mean exact right verbiage.
Okay.
The IRS could say, hey, you didn't actually do this deal in an IRA. We're going to distribute it all to you, and you get taxed on all of the money.
Yeah.
And if you're under 59.5, you get a penalty on top of it. So our job is to make sure that all the documents have the right verbiage that meet the IRS, hey, this is what they need. That's their qualifications to it. Lastly, then, is obviously we're going to charge you a fee if we're going to take our time to do it. It's $125.
Right. Right.
So.
And then what else? There's the wire fee.
Yep. Yeah. So once we send the money, obviously there's going to be a cashier's check, ACH, a wire fee. Wire is probably the most popular. It's $30 to send a wire.
Right.
And then now that your IRA actually owns the asset, understand that there's going to be an annual maintenance fee that's based off the tax reporting for it. So on the high side, it's at $350 a year. On the low side, it could come out on a quarterly basis. I tell people, man, stick with the $350 a year.
Right.
Just so we can always overestimate all the fees.
Right. So that $350 a year, plus then there's the transaction coordination.
The $125.
So $125, and then plus a $30 fee. Kendra did not know that was going on, and that was coming out of her personal account. So Kendra is IRA rich and in reality poor. So she is, it was very smart. They took all of the distributions that they could do when she was married, and they dumped it all into 401k. And they actually didn't do like an ETF or a fund. They went into direct growth stocks. When I first started talking to you, the stock that she had purchased, it was $274 a share. By the time we did the sell, it was $480.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it jumped way up. That's one of the things that's unique about stock markets, and even like things which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit, is like cryptocurrency is, dude, one day it can be worth this, the next day it's worth way up here. The following day it could be worth way down there,
Right. Okay. So, and this is the reason really why I wanted to bring you in, because I always heard one of your compadres that used to work at Quest, Nathaniel. He used to always say that there was a person there who had horse semen.
That's correct.
that he was a collector of it.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things what are the things that people are holding into the IRA?
Yeah. So understand that your IRA, it's just an entity.
Right.
Just like your LLC, just like a trust or a C Corp, S Corp, doesn't matter. Right. The difference is your IRA falls into a tax exempt category. So the IRS gives every custodian things that they say, hey, your IRA can invest in. And public assets are the most popular: stocks, annuities, mutual funds, CDs, bonds, something like that. But then they have what they label as private assets. So for you and me, it's going to be real estate.
Right.
But it could be a small business. Ooh. It could be things like...
so you could buy a franchise inside of...
Potentially. Usually someone's not trying to...
But you can't be working inside of it.
There you go, right? So usually what they're doing is you're actually... And I like to call it and some people know the term angel investor.
Ooh, okay.
Right? The IRA is usually someone that's investing into a company. They're investing as a private investor. They're not actually going to be the ones running the business.
They're silent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's more popular. Now, the guy that you're talking about who literally deals in horse semen, right, which is real, right? He really does do this, but he actually does it through an operating agreement. He invests into a company that deals in breeding horses, right, for racing and other things, right? So even like the Clydesdale Budweiser horses. So that's what he deals in, is like he invests in the company because he knows that business. So I tell people, when you're using an IRA, you find a custodian that can work with you in what you're comfortable investing in.
So can someone who has a passion for fancy old antique cars, could they buy an antique car through their IRA?
So unfortunately not.
Okay.
All right. Now the reason why is the IRS says that you can only invest in things that can have a real value.
Ooh.
Antiques you can't value. Right? What it might be worth to you is not worth the same to me.
Okay.
So they need to be
so
able
that
to put,
that would go the same as art.
There you go. So you can't do art. You can't do, and what they label it under collectibles. And they have a list of collectibles, and then
baseball cards, stamps, NFTs.
Yep. So
you know what an NFT is, right?
NFT, the
non-fungible token.
Yeah.
Which is made with cryptocurrency.
Yep.
Or it's not made through the cryptocurrency. It's made, well, whatever it's made with, it's sold through the blockchain.
It's digital that way.
Do you see, as everything's going from paper distribution and showing ownership through paper, do you see how the blockchain is going to start being the ledger of record?
Well, what do you mean? So, like, I definitely see that there's a drastic change in pulling away from paper assets and paper markets. And I mean, God.
So what I mean is, like, when someone goes to sign their documents for a house inside of their IRA, wouldn't it make sense to put it into the blockchain so then you know that it went through Derreck Long FBO Derreck Long blah 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 blah.
Yep.
You know, you went there and then that sold to Chris Atkins IRA blah 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 blah.
It would make sense, right? And I see a lot of things going that way. You're absolutely correct. As we get more and more to the digital age, literally, I just sold a property in Florida. I wasn't at the title company.
Right.
I didn't go down there. You know, what's really bad is I owned the property for a year. I never even saw the house.
I think they're calling it smart contracts. And then I want to get it back into your Florida flip.
Oh.
So, but cryptocurrency. Mm-hmm. Tell me what do you like about it? What do you not like about it? And then we can expand on how or what you're seeing people at Quest do with it.
Sure. So there are some things that I do like about it. Okay. One of the things being it's a brand new style of investing. Things unrelated to the stock market. All right, is in stocks we see stocks fluctuate, but it only is based off NASDAQ. Right, the New York Stock Exchange is time. Right, from New York's 8 a.m. to New York's,
Right.
5 p.m. or 4 p.m., whatever it is.
And this trades around the clock like any other currency would.
That's the thing, is cryptocurrency is really unique in the aspect that it's trading at midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
What I don't like about it, though, is just like the stock market, it's not tangible, right? When I own a property, I can touch it. I can feel it. I can see it. And I'm not worried about it changing so drastically in value. Dogecoin most recently was a prime example. Dude, could you make $1 million in cryptocurrency? Absolutely you could, right? Because I could buy it at 1 cent and tomorrow it's worth 10 cents, right? And that's what's unique, and you can do it with the stock market as well, but seeing people do this is incredible. I love to hear those stories about people that they bought the GameStop, they bought Dogecoin at this and it jumped up here.
I bought GameStop 5 times.
There you go, right? And
5 times. In and out.
Yep. Boop, 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 boop.
Just like prom night, in and out.
Yeah.
It was
Nailed it.
nailed it. So, yeah, and I agree with you. For so long I have been adverse to the stock market because I didn't feel like it was something that I could touch. That the time to transact was so long until Robinhood, which made it more accessible.
Sure.
So for everyone watching out there who, if you are into cryptocurrencies or Robinhood, you do not own any cryptocurrency. Very much like what Derreck is saying about Quest. You personally do not own the real estate asset.
Your entity does.
Your
IRA.
entity owns that asset. Well, in this instance, Robinhood owns the crypto.
Yep.
You cannot use it. You could have, I have 2,000 Dogecoins inside of my Robinhood account. I cannot use it for shit. I can't do anything with it. The only thing I can do is sell it or buy more of it. I cannot transact it in any way, shape, or form that would benefit me. So there's the problem with Robinhood.
Yep. And my thing is what I like about things like cryptocurrency and stock market and stuff is if you don't have $10,000, right, let's say, I would argue in today's day and age, that's not a lot of money.
Right.
So if you only have $10,000, $5,000, $1,000 and you're like, man, I don't know what to do with it. Well, you put it in something like that and it jumps up in value, man, that can be awesome.
You get a false sense of rich.
Yes. Now,
very false. Because just like flipping a house, you do not get that money when you buy.
Yeah.
You only get that money, that equity, when you sell.
Absolutely.
And then guess who else gets that money? Joe Biden.
Yep. That's where they come in and
Uncle Joe is no longer Uncle Sam. Uncle Joe is coming to take 30 to 50% of your money.
Absolutely. All down to the taxation aspect. Now, if I have $1,000 and I put it in Dogecoin, and I see it jump up in value, like you said, you get that false.
Yeah, that false sense of rich.
But guess what? Let's say it jumps down in value, all right, and it crashes.
And then I get that false sense of I'm poor. But actually, most people take that and then they scare and then they sell.
Yep.
It's just like most people, when the pandemic hit, they automatically called their mortgage company and said, hey, I need a forbearance.
And you hear that, and now those are starting to come back around.
Yeah, and now you're starting to see what you just tacked on to your mortgage. It's something crazy, like 30% of all FHA loans were like hit for some sort of period of forbearance. Crazy. It's crazy.
That's, it's funny because right now I think we're going to start to see people buy a lot of real estate. I don't care what state you're in, right? You're going to see a lot of people starting to pick up real estate because right now we're definitely in a seller's market.
Yes.
Oh my God.
In Houston, for sure.
Oh yeah.
In Houston, I think we're less than 10,000 active.
Yeah.
Kendra's son just put I think it was like his 10th contract, and he got a verbal acceptance. The only reason why he got it was because he saw the lady putting the sign in the yard while he was driving to another house to go look at it. And when they got there, the lady had called and said, hey, no more showings. It's under contract. So they went right back down 5 houses down and said, hey, can we come in and see it? And the lady's like, yeah, it's empty. And they put an offer on it right there on the spot. The lady called and got a verbal acceptance. The only reason why it even happened was because he was active.
Yep. And that's what you have to be.
Yes. And that's my point. So whether you're listening to a podcast, whether you have to load up your mental piggy bank, because it's times like these where you got to, like, if you do have $10,000, you need to know how to scratch off that lottery ticket, because you can make money at 10.
Yes.
You can make money at 10,000. Ryan did a deal with y'all where he showed how he took $10,000 and moved it over and made, I think, like $100,000 or something, all tax free.
Oh yeah, we I know exactly what case study you're talking about.
It was the case study.
We actually bring him in all the time to talk about, because he's done that a couple of times, believe it or not. But
no,
it's
he
nice.
has.
Yeah.
He and I have worked the system with the PPP. We're non-forgivable.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're not forgivable on our PPP.
Love it.
So we've gamed the system to get as much cash flow as we can until we have to turn around and pay it back. Yep. And I keep telling him, hey, let's just keep riding the people. Well, we keep, every time we get a cash flow check that comes in from the PPP, we turn around and pay the SBA.
Yeah,
we do. But it's lowering our cost basis.
Makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yep.
And my thought is, at some point, because I can see how there's another package coming.
Oh, yeah.
And in this last package, I think it's going to be all the gimmies. It's going to be the $50,000 off your student loans and this. Yeah. And so, I mean, listen, I fight this fight with Chris Funk all the time. Okay. Funk is like, I don't believe in taxpayer funding. And I'm like, I don't believe in it either. But if it's there and other people are going to go do it, I'm going to do it.
Makes sense. You got to take advantage of what's there.
Right.
Right. Whether you agree with it or not.
Yes.
I mean, I'm still
It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant. It's like, I may not agree or I may not get benefit today of my IRA with Quest. But I guarantee you, when I'm 65, I'm going to get a benefit from it.
My goal, and I'm on track right now, is just the way the IRAs work, right? Is every time I do a deal, I get real excited because I don't get to touch any of the profit today.
Right.
But let's say I'm 59, okay? 59 and a half. I have $1 million in my IRA. All the loans I've structured, I lend out at 1% a month. No points, nothing like that. It's just a simple 1% a month, right? At $1 million, if I was able to do that, that's $10,000 tax-free, cash flowing.
You lend out at 1%?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Why don't you lend out at 10?
Well, no, so 1% a month. Remember, I'm a sales guy.
Okay. Oh, my gosh. Okay, 1% a month. So $400,000 loan would be $4,000 a month.
Correct. So $1 million means it would be $10,000 a month.
Yes.
Tax-free that I get to pull out and spend. I don't have to do a darn thing.
And that's pretty easy to tabulate too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And that's assuming, and unfortunately in today's day and age, $1 million isn't what it used to be.
So what did you buy the house for in Florida? And when did you buy it?
So I bought a house last year in August, July-August timeframe.
What made you buy in Florida?
Oh, well, I'm from Florida. I lived in Florida for a long time.
Okay.
And
this is new information for me.
Oh, yeah. So I lived in a city called Ocala.
Ocala.
All right. Ocala's either horse country and has a lot of rich people, or Rednecksville.
Gotcha.
Like hardcore.
So you fit in perfectly.
Absolutely.
Rednecksville.
Where's my bush light? I'm telling you right now, building and run. Know what I mean?
So you bought in Ocala. Or how much did you buy for?
Well, it was funny is the lady who had the house, she was in her 90s, she passed away, left the house to her 5 kids that lived in 4 different states.
Probate.
Yeah, oh man, what a pain in the butt. So
Okay.
the kids surprisingly all just said, hey, look, told the realtor, if you knew someone that wanted to buy it, just sell it to them. So the realtor reached out to me, And without seeing the house, I went off with the realtor, they said, hey, it needs probably about 15, 20 grand in rehab. I said, make them an offer for 70,000. They took it. All right.
What'd you sell it for today?
140.
How much did you put into it after you bought it?
About 14.5.
Okay. So I'm getting feedback from people who are listening to the podcast that say that I don't get into the deeper numbers. They want the deeper numbers.
So
what did you have to put into it?
Literally, the $14,500 went into replacing one bathroom.
Okay.
Okay. Paint, windows, and a couple of roof patches.
Okay.
Now, the house was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house on an acre of land. All right. That I picked up for 70 grand.
Okay.
Now, my real purpose behind the house was actually to keep it. The main reason I wanted to keep it is I knew what it was really worth. I knew because the house is in the area. Understand, coming on an acre of land, it's hard to get a proper appraisal. It really, really is, because not a lot of houses out there are selling at that same point in time. So when you get an appraisal value, it comes from 2 years ago, and you're like, I'm not sure. So what ended up happening, and what was so unique about it, was I knew I was going to be able to take a lot of depreciation and a lot of expenses to offset my personal taxes. It's actually why I wanted it. I threw a renter in there. The renter was paying us about $13.50 a month. Okay. Good renter. Hired a property management company, deal with them, all that good stuff. They never missed a payment, which was nice. But once again, remember, I only owned this since last August.
Right.
Renter moved in probably about October. And so I collect the rent each month, paying down a loan. I actually took a hard money loan from a personal friend of mine named Paul Limnatos, but Paul gave me a loan for it. And
Paul did all the way in Florida?
So this was not through Blink Lending. Okay, this was him
just through
personally.
Paul.
Yeah.
Well, Paul is a multi-gazillionaire. You can call him for he does it for 0.001. Paul lends out at the price of Dogecoin. So call him. Whatever the price of Dogecoin is his interest rate.
Yeah. So Paul's a good friend of mine. He did the personal loan to me, right? And it was all based off our relationship. And I think that's one thing a lot of people miss in real estate. It's not always about the deal. Sometimes you can make the deal happen because of your network.
Okay.
Right? Understand, I wouldn't have found this deal if I didn't know the realtor. I wouldn't have been able to get the loan if I didn't know Paul. Right? And Paul wouldn't have lent me money if he didn't trust me.
And part of the reason why he trusts you is because you work at a place that is a fiduciary for other people's investment
I'm
assets.
not going to ruin my name, let me tell you.
Right. And okay, so to give you an example of that, so I'm doing a deal with someone that called me on another property. He wants me to come and build a house for them. I'm having to go to Prosperity Bank for the first time to get qualified.
Yeah.
They asked me for a resume. So I sent them back over a deal. I said, I have been retired from corporate America for 12 years. I was on the front cover of HAR, the magazine. I've been on the front cover of the Houston Chronicle. I have 2 podcasts. I won the top 40 under 40 award as a realtor, and I have flipped over 500 houses. I am not sending you a resume. If you want to see my resume, go to Facebook.
Google me.
Google me.
You spoke at one of our events that had over 1,000 people at it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. QuestCon.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the thing. Kendra went to 2 events. She's gone to 2 events and then made her first decision to invest. One was she went to QuestCon, or the Quest Expo, the one that was over in the Galleria.
Okay. Yep.
The Intercontinental Hotel.
That was a fan. Dude, I can't wait for us to... I think we're going to do it again next year. Right? Yeah. Obviously, we missed out on it this year, but we're going to jump right back into the Quest Expo, probably 2022.
Yeah, that was amazing. From that one, I've been bashing with John Heyer on Facebook. We got into this big sparring match with each other, and I just said, dude, listen, we don't have to agree. Like, I can tell you Robinhood robbed from us. He's saying there's no way Citadel and Robinhood were all in together. And I'm going, okay, well, there's no way, it just doesn't. Oh, it's just coincidence that you go down and then all of a sudden the company that's lending you money and through putting your transactions all of a sudden makes it. So then all of a sudden I got dubbed as the conspiracy theorist on his Facebook posts. And I'm just thinking, I'm a realist, right? A realist would tell you certain things. Anyway, but yeah, because of that, like I watched him at that Quest Expo and I said, that dude right there is probably one of the most sarcastic and funny and insightful guys I've ever seen. I totally want to like listen to him more.
One of the things we like to do is, and I think a lot of other self-directed custodians, they get scared of this, right? But they are scared to bring in real attorneys to speak, right? So we bring in usually 3 of them, one of them being John Heyer. If you've never heard John Heyer out there, it's
worth the money. It's worth the money.
God.
He's really good.
He is. Next person's a guy named Jeff Watson.
He's really good too.
Right? And then we bring in obviously Quincy Long, who's our president and our founder.
I don't even know who this guy is.
So Quincy likes to let you know that he is the smartest person in the room.
And he probably is.
Right.
And he's viewed as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because of his level of intelligence, and you put him against these other 2 attorneys, what's great is when they disagree on something.
Yeah, and Quincy
Quincy
always disagrees in such a very slow, methodical thought. And John Heyer is like, he'll just give a zinger right back. And I like guys who can just think so fast on their feet.
It lets you know they really know what they're talking about.
Yeah. Like they've been through that war before, and they've also anticipated what your response is.
Yeah.
I like that.
Man.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, so if you guys ever have a chance to see that, like people need to see it. So.
Yeah. So is anybody putting crypto inside of their IRA?
Some people are, but no one's allowing it directly. Okay, and this really comes down to how the IRS labels things.
So what can you do indirectly?
So I won't even say you could do it. This is up for debate. All right. Understand that, and I have to, I don't know how to even shorten it up, but the IRS says, like, they actually have a reporting aspect for how custodians, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, us, Equity Trust, doesn't matter. This is reported via a stock, a mutual fund, a CD, a real estate property, a note, a PE deal, whatever. But they have nothing for cryptocurrency, right? In addition, remember, there's certain things you can invest in, and they give you a list of it. Then they say there's things you can't invest in. They give you a list of it. And cryptocurrency doesn't fall in either category.
Does currency at all fall into a category?
It does.
Wow.
Okay. So what type of currency does is government bonds. Government bonds being publicly traded, or specific precious metals, and it has to be like valued, and
like copper, silver, gold,
and
titanium, palladium.
Yeah, but like so
platinum.
In order to invest in, like, let's say gold, it has to be 0.9999999% pure gold, and it has to, you actually have to bring it to like an appraiser that will value it that way.
Oh, so I can't just buy off of like the exchange. I have to actually own gold that is real gold.
That's the, and it has
of its purest form.
That's the thing. And so not a lot of people realize that. Well, knowing this, one of the things you can do with an IRA is invest into an entity. I can have my IRA be the sole owner of an LLC, right? My IRA sets up an LLC. My IRA sets up a trust, something like that. Well, according to the custodian, that is the investment. Okay? So
you personally can set up an entity that's buying cryptocurrency.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to change the verbiage a little. My IRA can set up an LLC.
Your IRA can set up an LLC.
Right? Or a trust. And the LLC then potentially, and I'm not going to say can, but potentially could buy cryptocurrency. And this is what a lot of people are doing. Now, notice, does that mean you can do it? No. It doesn't mean you can't do it. So a lot of times people will just set up the entity and they don't tell their custodian what they're doing. Understand what Quest sees, what Equity Trust sees, what any other custodian sees is the entity, right? It's a great way to avoid fees, things. You do have to have a manager in place to like actually be just labeled as your manager. I would argue, though, not to do it in an IRA.
It sounds an awful lot like buying SafeMoon.
What is that? I don't even know what SafeMoon is.
It's like this coin, and you have to do. Okay, it's so crazy. So there, you know, Dogecoin is a meme coin, right?
Yep.
Safe Moon is like trading at 0.0000004
Okay.
of a cent, right?
Right.
And it's in the way that their gimmick works is that you buy our coin, and anytime someone sells it, 10% of those coins go back into the pool of people who are still there, and then we distribute equally to everyone that stayed.
Okay.
So it's their burn rate. So then it shrinks the total allowable tokens that are available. So then it's constantly depressing. But very few exchanges have it to where you can buy. So the way that you have to buy it is you have to buy something else. Then you have to sell that. You have to do something called a pancake swap. Yeah. I mean, so this is another great thing. If it's too complicated to invest in and to do it right, it's going to fail.
That's the thing I was just about to get into is if you're going to try to use an IRA for crypto, I mean, I'm not saying cryptocurrency is a good investment or bad investment. I personally don't like it. I like to invest in something tangible. However, you can make money in it, but probably don't want to leverage your IRA.
Yeah. But what?
You're like, oh, we're getting into it.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I think that a lot of people are just caught up in this euphoria of
absolutely
of the crypto, of the market. Bitcoin went up. Now Bitcoin, just found out it was pregnant and lost like half of its value. And so, you just you're playing in a pool of people that I think own a lot more.
You're gambling.
Yeah,
the house will always win.
Yeah.
Can you win short term on the
Yes,
house?
you can.
Oh, yeah.
You can. I was watching Money Explained on Netflix last night.
I haven't seen that documentary, but is it good?
It's good. So
I saw it pop up on the thing.
So you got to watch it. So this episode on Money Explained was gambling. And they were talking about how you can go, and it was like, here, the fool's theory is, bet on red, it was black. Bet on red, it was black. Well, then I'm going to triple down now so I can get back at least what I put in. The next one's got to be red, it's black.
Yep.
Right? And it's like, or you go black, black, black. Well, I can't lose. The next one's going to be black, and then you lose it all.
Yep.
And it's the fool's theory is that at some point it will turn.
Yep. I love math. Oh my God. I don't like gambling. I actually get really bored with gambling. And I think it's because I do a lot of math. I deal in numbers, right? I mean, that's why I work in retirement accounts and IRAs and stuff. I love I always try to explain like flipping a coin. If I keep flipping it and it's heads, in your head, you think, well, the next one has to be tails.
Right.
But
always.
you're basing that off of hey, look, I'm putting all these together. But if you just walked up and you never saw me flip the coin prior, you now are under the impression this is a 50-50 shot. And what people don't realize is that's actually what your percentages are of flipping a coin.
Yeah.
Whether it lands on heads a million times over doesn't matter. It's literally always 50-50.
What are my chances of making a profit in today's real estate market if I were to flip a house?
I would argue pretty darn good.
Greater than 50-50?
Oh, man. I wasn't even trying to sell our house, the one out in Florida.
Yeah.
Right? Think about it. If it was $70,000 to buy, I put $14,500 into it, right? We're going to round it up to $15,000, right? That's $85,000, and I sold it for $140,000, and it wasn't even on the market, right? While capturing the small amount of cash flow in the middle from the renter,
and paying Paul Lemnatos,
yeah, so
with his Dogecoin money.
So what's unique about all of that is you can make money in real estate, and let's pretend I didn't sell the asset. Let's pretend that you don't sell the property. You still own it. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow, world comes to an end. I have a place to stay. I own this asset. I can touch it, feel it, see it. I can probably outweigh, the goods versus the bad.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's a ton of people trying to go to Ocala or wherever that place was.
Oh,
Florida.
God. If you guys ever go to Ocala, I'm sorry.
Yeah, what do you think about Airbnb?
Airbnbs I think are great. People think that Airbnb is brand new and it's not. Airbnb's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
It just
used to be called B&B.
Yeah, right. You can make a lot of money in Airbnbs if you do it right. Mm-hmm. You really, really can. I think with people getting back away from COVID now and stuff like that, those will probably be a big spike. I would never own an Airbnb in an IRA, but it comes down to that usually those are vacation properties. Hypothetically.
Yeah, you want to be able to use that property.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can't use that property if it's owned by your IRA.
That's correct, right? So if I buy a beach house, right, and I'm Airbnb-ing it out, and it's out 90% of the year because people are staying there and living it, but that other 10% maybe I want to take a vacation, and I'm going to stay in my own Airbnb, that's fine as long as your IRA doesn't own it. Most of the time, people like to buy vacation houses and rent them out via Airbnb, but they also plan on staying there at some point in time at their own vacation, which is, if that's what you're trying to do, don't use your IRA. Still do the deal, I'm
trying to get for anyone watching, I'm looking for a deal in Lake Conroe.
Ooh.
On the lake. Doesn't matter. Townhouse, condo, regular house. I just need a boat slip, and I need it to have lakefront. That's it.
I love fishing. Oh my God, I'm actually getting. We're getting so off topic, but
why is this off topic,
dude? I love fishing, and
okay.
I was chosen to. I'm doing this up and coming event where Quest is sponsoring this event that's on a fishing charter.
Okay,
please sign me up. Yeah. I volunteer.
Yeah.
So it's so I'm
getting paid for this.
Yeah. So, but I love fishing.
Okay, where's the event? Where's it going to?
It's out in Galveston, right? Okay. So it's Galveston, about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on which way you kind of take from here. Honestly, I just found out about it yesterday. I don't have a lot of info on it, but okay. I'm excited for it.
Man, okay, that sounds cool. How far out will you go? 5 miles?
Probably. My guess would be that they probably have a couple holes or things like that. It's a pretty big charter. I know there's gonna be about 30 of us on there. Okay. So usually. I've been on a couple of fishing charters that are that size, and usually you pull up like next to an old shrimp boat or something like that that's been chumming all night, So, yeah, and that way then you're like for sure going to catch something.
Yeah, yeah. But they got them all primed and ready to go.
Absolutely, right?
Follow the bloodline. Well, man, you killed it. What else is coming up from Quest perspective?
Right now, I always like to remind people, if you have questions, to let us know. People get sometimes scared of self-directed IRAs, but they just don't understand them. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I always remind people that Quest, you can give us a call. It's a non-automated line. That is rare in today's day and age. You call, someone answers, and you can ask for any questions you want about IRAs, how they relate to real estate, and an expert will give you an answer.
And that's true, because we did have a problem or a challenge early on, and I contacted you, and every single time I just would send you an email and boom, someone was on it. Yep. It was the best because, I'm the person telling this person, you need to do this investment. Yep. And so this is her first rodeo.
Absolutely. And I know Kendra actually ran into some issues too.
Yeah. Yeah. And you guys resolved them super fast, and it was amazing. And I couldn't even thank you anymore for just being on top of it, taking care of it. I tell people this, I build houses. Every house that I've built has a problem at some point in time.
Absolutely.
The problem with the house isn't that it was built wrong. The problem in the house is that it was built with people. And people sometimes don't do everything that they were supposed to do to the detail. My job as the builder is to make sure that that's warranted and that's taken care of.
I call it finding the solution.
Find the solution.
I even teach a whole class called Problems and Solutions of Self-Directed IRAs. And I go through every single problem that I've experienced in a self-directed IRA, and then I go over the solution to every single thing. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is sometimes that's just what people need. They've only experienced the problems, and they never try to think of what is the solution to this. And I think that holds true in life, man. It doesn't matter if we're talking about real estate, if we're talking about your relationship, if we're talking about IRAs, if we're talking about whatever, what is the solution to whatever the problem is? And if you can come up with solutions, man, you'll become rich. You'll become so wealthy, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I tell people, they say, what do you charge per square foot? I always tell people, I don't get charged by the square foot. I get charged by the value I bring to the square foot.
You even did kind of help redo our Quest office recently.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks great. For those of you guys who
badass.
haven't been there, make sure you come out. We're probably going to do a grand opening, but Curtis helped design some of the new things.
The
in
atrium.
The yep.
Yeah.
And it's all brand new. And it looks great.
The bathrooms, the most beautiful part for me was taking the red out of the brick, going up the elevators. Yeah. It's all black now, and it's super mod looking.
The tile looks great.
Yeah.
And getting rid of those ugly couches, and there was like a moldy fountain that was probably from the 70s or 80s. Who knows?
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, it was pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah, thanks, Curtis. Make sure you guys watch Nailed It.
Nailed it.